The little pop-up didn't happen. Oh, it did. Okay, gonna call this public hearing and regular meeting of the Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission on Thursday, April 18th, 2024. It's now 7:05 PM. Roll call. Lisa Di Maria,
Here.
Jonathan Kastner. I know he's on his way. He's not here yet. Alan Parody. Haven't seen him. Stan Reinheimer called in. He said he's out of town, so he can't make it. Marion Stay,
Here.
Daniel Smith.
Here.
I'm Joe Baldock, Chairman, and Daniel, I'm gonna seat you in the vacancy.
Thank you.
Right, on to item 2, audience of citizens. Citizens may address the commission on items that are not listed on the agenda. I don't see anybody, but anybody from the audience? All right, hearing crickets. On to item 3, approval of minutes, March 21st, 2024, their regular meeting. Everybody taking a look at them, going through them? If so, need a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Thank you, Marion. Second,
Second. I'll second.
thank you, Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. On to item 4, public hearing. Item A is a text amendment application, regulation amendment to add section 7B 36 solid waste recycling, waste reduction, waste energy, transfer station facilities. That should be in transfer station facilities. Applicant Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission. So we need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. Need a second?
Second.
Daniel?
Yeah.
And yes. Okay, any discussion on the regulations? I think we ironed this pretty much out the last time, so. Any comments or concerns? Again, I don't see anybody here from the public. I'm not missing anybody online.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
So I would
got
just note for the record that staff had submitted the proposed draft amendment to the Connecticut River Gateway Commission and RiverCog as required by state statute. Both returned commentary, which have been placed on the public record and in the share file. Both entities had no objections to the proposed amendment.
All right, fantastic. Any more comments or concerns? If not,
I was just going to comment that we went over this. We just felt really strongly that we needed all of these conditions in order to make, I guess, the use palatable in the zone.
all right, I guess there's no comments, concerns, there's nobody from the public. We're just looking for a motion to close the public hearing on this.
Motion to close.
Okay, second,
Second.
thank you,
Yeah.
Daniel. I'm the same. Okay, on to item 5, old business, right back to the text amendment application. Regulation amendment to add section 7B 36 solid waste, recycling, waste production, waste energy, and transfer station facilities. Applicant Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission. And I'm assuming somebody wants to make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Oh, well,
Sorry, Daniel. John or Zoe,
Yeah.
how fast can this get noticed in the newspaper if we approve it?
Well, we're in office on Monday, so we'd probably send it out on Monday.
And it would
Nancy,
get
what would be
published-
Nancy's schedule?
I usually do.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Get it in one day. The soonest would be possibly Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, so an effective date for this could be May 13th then. Because that would be the 15-day appeal period.
okay.
So it could be effective by May 13th,
You wanna
which
use
is
the-
Monday.
You want to give us a day of leeway, shoot for the 14th?
No, because that would mean it'd have to be in the newspaper by next Friday. but Nancy says it could be in by Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay,
So I've already given 2 days.
okay.
Because
you're ahead of me, so all right.
Okay, so you said the 14th?
15th, 13th, effective on the 13th.
And who made the motion? Lisa?
Nobody's made a motion yet. Daniel was trying to, and
And I interrupted him.
she
All right.
threw
Fine.
out
I
an
just,
amendment.
I would just recommend that any motion include a statement that the commission finds this proposed text amendment harmonious with the goals of the plan of conservation and development.
Daniel, is that the motion you were making?
Well, the issue with that is that we're still working and fine tuning that P O C D.
Well, the current
Yeah,
POC.
oh, yeah, okay, yes, and that's the motion I'm making. With the current P O C D, it is harmonious.
And an
So,
effective date of, you say, May 13th.
was the 13th, so it could be out by the 14th, right? May 13th.
Okay. right.
Really quickly before we do that final approval, there were just two things in the updated reg that I highlighted when I sent it out that I just wanted to confirm everyone was good with. The first was for the hours of operation. We had the hours of 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. in there tentatively, but we could also just, or we could just keep it as is or make it change the hours to other specific times or just make it more kind of blanket of like, language of to the commission's discretion.
My understanding was that if they do different hours, they would have to apply for special permit. Did I misunderstand that?
Right, well, they'd have to start, apply for a special permit anyway. And
Yeah.
we could
Yeah.
always, we could always modify the time.
Right, so that it can be modified in the special permit process. So
Yeah.
in that, and since that's how I understood it, I have no issue with the hours that are documented.
Okay.
I mean, they're more of a guide, that way they're obviously a guideline because anybody that does anything in this space is gonna have to go through a special permit process.
Great. And then there was one other setback question for, I think as we pulled everything together, we just had something towards the end about 100 feet from any property line for the facility location. Is that too much?
I think because we were looking at those bigger pieces. If I remember correctly, right, it was the preservation and recreation districts.
It limited it down to, limited the spaces.
Yeah, I think it just limited it to the two rear properties, so
Great.
I think
Okay.
it's a decent start.
Okay, cool. Those were the only two things that I just wanted to make sure everyone felt good about before we did everything. So,
Okay.
Thank you, Zoe.
All right. Daniel, you mind remaking or re-upping your
Yes,
motion?
yeah, well, is everybody good to go then? All right, so I move that this amendment be added. It is harmonious with the current P O C D and have it to be dated for May 13th.
Fantastic. Second,
Second.
Lisa, Marion,
Yes,
Jonathan? Yeah. And yes, myself. All right. On to item B, Gateway zoning regulation discussion, proposed amendment to section 14.4. So at some point, I'd personally like to get this through. We do have the proposed language that just pretty much took what Gateway Commission already has and gives an overlay that is exempt from their oversight. There were some maps I sent out and Alan had questioned the contours, so I sent out a contour map. I did drive down to the intersection of Book Hill and Essex Street, and you can not see to the Connecticut River. So I'm assuming that you cannot see back. I haven't taken a boat out there yet to double check, but you just trying to cross all my T's and dot all my I's. So anyway, if there's any other issue with this or I mean, if you guys are okay with this, I'd like to put this on the next agenda for a public hearing.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Did you, Tony, I was under the impression that you showed that with Gateway already?
No, we'd have to do that when it's going forward.
Right, okay.
Um,
That's fine.
But the long way around is I at one point did sit with the Gateway Commission and Angus and John, and we went over this a couple
Okay.
times.
So we're agreeing that what was shared with this commission can be put up at next meeting on the agenda.
Yes.
Yep.
And they'll have to they'll have to agree to it anyway, so.
Tony, so you're proposing to basically have a public hearing at the May meeting?
That would be fantastic. Is that
Alright.
possible?
It's not technically 35 days, but if we send it out, and Zoe, I'm sorry, the reg is in a form, basically ready to go.
I would need to check and see what feedback, if any, we got via email from commissioners since we last kind of talked about it. Because when we reviewed it last month, there's the immediate Gateway reg, and then there was also the other recommendations that the Gateway Commission had shared with us. So if we're just thinking about that immediate Gateway reg, then yeah, that would be super fast.
That and the immediate gateway reg meaning exempting
That
triangle?
part, that zone over the industrial turnpike.
And so Tony, you're not talking about all the lighting and redefinition of,
No. So this is
Of
gonna just,
riparian buffers or whatever.
right?
yeah, this is just the section 14.432, the exemptions from the Gateway Zoning Commission. It just adds, so the first part is residential structures over 4,000 square feet, blah, 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 are exempt. And then we've added line number 2, which is or located within the Gateway exemption overlay zone as depicted on the Deep River, Connecticut official zoning map as amended.
Yeah,
So it's just that
that would be
line.
easy to
Okay.
get out.
So if that's it, then yeah, then we can send it out to Gateway and Rivercog tomorrow. The May meeting would be May 16th, third Thursday. It's not 35 days, but
I mean, we could do
it's-
June,
it's-
that's,
it's a month. I don't know, Manuel, Torrance quibbled a little bit saying, could we have a little more time next time? But they got it done, right?
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, it's
We're supposed to give them 35. If they both of them got it done, we only gave them, I think, about 3 weeks this time, because I spaced on it.
we could open the hearing and then wait until they respond.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if they still haven't responded, we could keep it open, I suppose.
okay.
It's a good point.
I have a question. Does
Sure.
this, and you may have said it, but I'm just trying to confirm it. This does or does not include all of the proposed changes to the definitions?
Nope, does not.
Yeah, we
That's
haven't
not-
closed that business yet. That was
Yeah.
sent out so we could read it and go over it, and unless it's put on the agenda ad hoc yet.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't touched it.
Okay,
There was
So
a
I'm
lot.
trying to lead with this that way, because this is the easy one.
okay.
Okay. Right, do we need a motion or are we just gonna, to put this, okay. So we'd need a motion to put the revised Gateway Conservation Zone regulation on next month's agenda, which was May, I'm sorry,
16th, I think.
16th.
I'll
So-
make that motion.
Fantastic. Looking for a second.
I'll
Seconded.
second.
Oh,
Oh,
Marion
Dan
can
can
second.
Whatever.
You know what? Jonathan beat you to it.
Oh,
Okay,
hey,
good.
John.
All right, Marion.
Yes,
Daniel.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right, on to new business. I, again, don't see anybody online. Carol, you got something for us? If not,
Yeah, I just want to make sure you guys have talked to Jerry Roberts about this. He didn't seem to know this was on your agenda for last week, and then the meeting got canceled, but so just wanted to throw that out for the whole Gateway piece.
Yep, he'll have to, I mean, he'll see the regulation. We've been talking about this for, I don't know, 10 years now. So,
And the note that we got, from the message that we got from Gateway, their administrator, Susie Beckman, indicated that she discussed the proposed reg with the Gateway Commission as a whole, and they agreed to let her issue a staff level comment on it. So the Gateway reps were aware.
So he's in. Okay, thanks.
right? Any other new business? If not, it's on to reports. ZEO. It's all the three of you. That's it, huh? I like that.
Actually,
The-
I have something after Zoe,
Oh. The biggest thing would be the kind of continued issues around 92 West Bridge. We're working to try to organize a meeting across some other departments and authorities, because at this point, what's the issues at that property are beyond just zoning
Hmm.
issues or violations. So we'll see how that goes. We're still waiting on a few responses to actually schedule it. So I'm going to send a follow-up, particularly to get the health department to give input. So we've gotten neighbors claiming with, or at least having a suspicion that they might be dumping sewage, but we don't, it's right now it's just a hearsay
Hearsay.
thing. It's not really, we don't have proof. So we have to get just the health department to see if they can verify or not for some of those. So that is kind of the biggest ongoing thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any word on? I hate to do the hearsay thing, but everybody and their grandmother has asked about Hanes closing. Meanwhile, they're open nonstop, so I haven't seen anything. Have you guys heard anything? Just, I mean, just to throw a question out there.
I
didn't-
haven't, I don't know if any of. No.
Right, I drive by there every morning, see the trucks there, so I didn't think so, but I didn't know if you guys had heard like somebody coming in for something.
Yeah, it is. It's been sold, so they've taken
Yeah.
quite a lot of the property out of there, or the materials, the equipment. But I think what I've heard is that it's gonna continue as some sort of quarry operation, so whoever
Okay.
bought it's gonna kind of move their own stuff in there, perhaps.
Gotcha. Okay,
Well, nothing's hit zoning.
yeah. All right. That's it? Just the one?
oh,
Oh,
no,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, I just happened to be going by the coastal academy
Mhm.
around between 2 and 2:30, I think it was yesterday. And glanced up High Street and there were a number of van type buses. They're not really buses, they're vans.
Yeah.
I think 2 of them were in the street, but they certainly weren't blocking traffic at all. That's all. It looked like kind of a normal school, but it was mostly vans, I didn't see a bus.
Could you send us a
Okay.
picture of them not blocking traffic so we can have a counterweight to the other photos?
Well, Fred had complained that there was a bunch of buses and that he was afraid that fire trucks couldn't get by. I didn't see that situation. That's all I'm saying. He may have seen something different. I did not.
I was gonna say, you know who blocks the intersection very well is Eversource, because I've seen them out there twice. So if anybody's blocking it, it's Eversource. Oh, goodness. All right, if that's it for the ZEOs, on to Planet Conservation Development.
We're working on climate and facilities. So we sent out all of our comments, which I looked at and thought they need to be organized a lot better. We tend to ramble a bit, but I'm sure that's. Huh?
I'll help with that, that those comments that were just from the notes, I believe, from our
Yeah,
last.
exactly. That's, So they have to be reorganized a bit, but I think those are our last items. And then hopefully we can look at a draft. I mean, nothing is ever a clean draft until maybe 3 or 4 down the line, but that would be helpful. Alan is not here, but I also think as part of the economic development section, we really should look at a map, and I don't think we need to make significant changes, but at least recommend maybe 1 zone or 2 zones could be changed or not, just so we know what we're dealing with. And that's all I'm gonna say because we need to talk about it.
So
So-
I'm gonna piggyback on this, because I know, after we left the last P O C D meeting, Alan and I were talking about who we've missed, and we've never had the fire department in here yet, and there was somebody else. So we're gonna try and harass them to come to the next meeting. And I think then we've talked to everyone, which would be
Mhm.
fantastic. So that's all I had to add to that. Anybody else, P O C D?
A quick question, Tony, with the fire department, is there a specific theme that we would want to, like, would we want to continue the kind of community facilities and resources conversation as part of that agenda if the fire department is coming, for example, versus the
so.
economic development section? Because I think we do want to return to that conversation at least once more, since there were some disagreements about certain approaches for economic development. But I don't know if the fire department necessarily will have a lot to say there.
Yeah, no, I think just that, if we do bring that back up, I think maybe the next meeting will run a little, we can try and run a little longer if that's all right with you guys and just get these last couple of pieces finished. But I think Alan was right that we haven't talked to them and they should at least come in and have their input in here.
Great.
And their input would even be good for, in general, public safety. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many things that actually the highway department also with public safety. In terms of climate change, what happens with trees coming down and all of that stuff. So I think it would be good, especially because they're a volunteer fire department. What happens in the middle of the day when typically lots of people are working?
The
Right.
other thing too is, I mean, maybe when we do have the draft, if we think of anybody we've missed, we can just send them the draft and say, look, what do you think? What did we miss? So I mean, we're not done anyway.
Fire keeps coming up in the Rivercog housing meeting because our neighbor towns are experiencing the same demographics as we are with volunteer fire departments and lack of younger volunteers in shrinking departments. So it isn't just the buildings. I mean, yeah, there are other aspects to the overall population.
Yeah, I agree. So, all right, anybody else P O C D? If not, we're going to attorney.
Well, I just
Nope.
wanted to add, so I don't know if you all got the invitation yet. I don't even know if it went out, but Sustainable is trying to put together a community resilience workshop. For their next certification, they need to, if they host one of these, they get points. And it's basically, Sarah Connor has been to a couple of these meetings because I've seen, and so she'll be reaching out, but a lot of what you're talking about, the POCD piece of it.
Yeah.
So you guys might come in as almost experts to, because you've already had this dialogue going, but
Yeah.
included in her invitation list is somebody from each of the commissions, fire department, public works, even our resident state trooper will be invited, so we can kind of pick everybody's brain. And we do have an emergency management plan that we've been working on. So we'll have those two, our emergency management director and assistant director will also be on that invite list. So, so if, when and if you get the invitation, please consider attending so we can kind of keep this going.
And I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Carol,
absolutely.
what's the workshop for? Community resilience, is that what it was?
Yeah, community resilience workshop, but it's put on sustainable CT.
Tony, if I may.
Yeah.
So that actually reminds me, we heard today, or maybe late last night, that the town of Essex was notified that we were awarded a technical assistance grant that is actually Essex applied on behalf of Essex, Deep River, and Chester through the Yukon Sea Grant program to do a study for essentially climate resilience. This community resilience and climate resilience are slightly different things, but so there will be a technical a grant, a study that combines the three towns, and we will probably be rolling out looking for probably a steering committee to kind of participate with that three-town study soon. But so the good news is the Carol and Cindy and Norm all participated in submitting for the grant, and we got it. So we'll be doing a community resilience or a coastal climate resilience study.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Now on to the attorney. Anything?
No, I suspect that, well, no, it's ZBA. The attorney will be at the ZBA meeting next week.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good. No news from the attorney is all right. Chairman, I have two things. One, I'm talking about the zoning map, and now that we've switched to the GIS. This morning I went to print out the maps that we're not gonna use tonight, and noticed that the gateway line wasn't on the zoning map. So I had them update the gateway line and the coastal boundary. So the GIS was updated today for that. And then the second thing is, I don't know what I'm getting myself into here, but I applied to go through the Casio training. And so John keeps harassing me about this, so I would need at some point to be doing some zoning enforcement of some kind. So I would need, I guess, permission from you guys to do some zoning enforcement. If you guys would be up for that. John, is that how that works?
Yeah, so in order to be eligible to be Casio certified and to go through the training, you need to be engaged in actual zoning enforcement. So I think the request would be for Tony to be duly deputized as an additional zoning enforcement officer, working under the strict tutelage of Zoe and Mel.
You get to do a ride along.
You can do all of those night
Right.
surveillance.
Yeah.
That's what I think he was pushing me for when I gotta
Yeah.
when I have to be out there with the recorder and they go,
Man-
oh, somebody's too
Man-
loud.
Manuel
Yeah,
has
your
a,
light
in the middle of
meters
the
and your
night and
sound
see if the
meters.
lights are affecting certain things that
and
were.
if you'd like, Manuel has
mandatory.
some porta potties that you need to detect odors on up in Chester.
Fantastic. Oh,
There's one on the landing too. No.
yes, that's what I need. Oh,
John, could you say that again?
About Chester?
No.
uh-oh.
Oh,
What did he s-
so if you were going to put this into a motion, it would be to appoint Tony Bolduc as an additional zoning enforcement officer in support of the Tyke team.
So moved.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
I went through that, so you can do it.
I hope so. We're gonna see how this works out. Thank you, Lisa.
Lisa did too.
I was just trying to get her to join the team too, but she's fighting it, see? Okay. Daniel?
So at the last Rivercog housing
Oh.
meeting,
Oh,
Get a
oh,
print-
oh, oh, I gotta get you to vote.
oh, yes, yeah, I'm sorry.
You can say no, you can say yes.
Yes, yeah, I thought we always did it. Yes, yes.
Thank
yes,
you.
first.
Jonathan? Yes. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. On to budget, and then we'll get to you, Daniel. So we presented our budget, God, the time's flying by now. I think it was last week. Everything went swimmingly, except for the fact that last year, we told them that we would change our fee schedule and then forgot all about it. got the whole thing, went to, the Board of Selectmen, everybody saw it, the Board of Finance saw it, everybody finally agreed. And then we did nothing for it. So I have to have her ask Carol to put it on the next, town meeting to get that done, so. Which I sent her an email, it should be on the next town meeting. With that being said, on to the housing meeting. Daniel?
Yeah, okay. So at the last Rivercog Housing meeting, we had a presentation that is going to prepare all the towns for workshops in order to put together a housing plan with Rivercog that encompasses more a regional idea. And so basically they brought in some stuff that Hartford's done and in the greater areas. And in a nutshell, it's ensuring that we're in alignment. I think will be the end game, but it's more of a workshop just to show some of the other towns that I think may not even be as far as we are put together aspect of their POCD or you need to update it. So I think that we're going to be right on top of that. And of course, we'll just look at what we have and the work that the groups put in already, because that was one of the first modules that were done with a POCD, or at least the draft is done. So anything that is pertinent, I'll be sure that we loop it back around. I also, this is separate from housing, but I did attend the regular Rivercog meeting last night per Tony's request, and I plan to attend again. But Tony, I think my name has to be given to them. I'm not sure if that's by you or Carol.
So I have to look, because one's done by Carol and one's done by planning and zoning, and I don't remember which one I am. It's been so long, so I'll have to look that up for you.
Well, we'll be sure to share the number with me, and I'll
Yeah.
attend on Monday if I have it.
Okay. Oh, actually, this coming Monday was canceled, just so you know. So we're off the hook this month.
Well, good. That's good.
Right.
As a report to everybody, we already talked about some of this in the POCD meeting, but in the regular Rivercog meeting, it was very interesting because they did pull up like a greater GIS and some of the overall thinking of where are the areas that could be developed for housing, and if there was money to come, where would it go? And one of the interesting things is when you look at their color coded GIS, Deep River isn't too highlighted at all. They have like our village, but even that isn't set as a prime location.
It is or it isn't.
Is not. So you look at, so they have a color overlay, and they
Mhm.
separated it by 3 colors. So one is like the developable area of a town, like within a village. So as you can imagine, seeing what that map would be, it'd be going up through Essex and Deep River into Chester. And then they had an orange overlay that they called, basically it's like the busier places, but they had a name for it. And there's none of that in Deep River. That's only over like the middle of Chester and Essex and the other towns. So I thought that was interesting. And the other interesting thing that came out of there is the idea that maybe some areas in development should be thought about 55 or older. There's a lot of discussion about that and pertaining to taxes. And then it was debated and explained why that's not a good idea. But those were the 2 salient points that I really took away from that meeting. There was a tertiary thing that when this climate resilience comes, we're going to be hit with migrants from the shoreline, and they're all going to be moving up here because the shoreline is going to be underwater apparently by their grid. It's like all gridded out on their map. So
the old Saybrook people are going to move back to Saybrook in parentheses.
I guess.
Is that how that's going to work? Okay.
Well, I mean, I found the map kind of comical because,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's sad really, but it just, they said, well, it was all thatched, and the thatched was where the flooding and underwater was. It's like,
Yep.
that's basically
Yeah.
everybody south of us in Westbrook,
Well, we'll have to get more housing then, won't we?
we'll need more housing.
All right.
And that's all I have. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. All right. Any questions for Daniel? If not, on the payment of bills? Anything? If not, no? Fantastic. On to adjournment. Anyone? Thank you, Jonathan. Second? Thank you, Daniel. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And again, thank you for, maybe thank you for the zoning enforcement thing. We'll see how that goes.
Mhm.
We're
Again,
excited to have you.
Thank you. How long is the paperwork list? That's what I'm worried about. I mean, is it like, is there a stack somewhere I'm not seeing? Oh,
You have to be very good with paperwork, but you have, it takes a while. I mean, I think you don't have to worry about the paper for another year.
oh, good.
I just want to see the video of the ride along, you know, bad boys, what we're gonna
I'm
do.
gonna hit the end button real quick, so we're.
Tony, yeah, you get, first assignment is 92 West Bridge. Good luck.
Oh, fantastic, thank you.